The Wildcat Sports Club CNY Brewfest is coming up January 31st and February 1st at the New York State Fairgrounds. Taste your way through unlimited samples from more than 100 breweries. Now featuring hard ciders, seltzers, craft cocktails, and mocktails too. Grab your tickets now at cnybrewfest.com.
Around that.
If you want me to take a lie detector, Brian, I'll take it.
Portal watch this, Portal watch that.
The dog Mama Duke. People say I like that dog.
What are you talking about playing walk-on? Who do you think walked onto the team?
Anybody that thinks this is going to come back is either naive or plain stupid.
All across CNY.
Kick the tires and light the fires, Big Daddy.
It's the 315.
Hardy faking, feeds the crease. Jameson got it.
He scores! Woo!
Here's Brian Higgins.
Oh, welcome. It is a Friday. We've almost made it to the weekend. We're almost there. We can reach out and touch it at this point. Glad to have you in here on this Friday. Cuse, Utica, Rome. Sup, Rome? How we doing? Rainy out, about to get a little snowy out. Be careful out there on the roads. Don't do anything silly here as we get this close to the weekend time. Q Sports Talk. What's going on, Q Sports Talk? We're out there on the Twitch. We're out there on the YouTubes. Get in there. Get in the chat. Let us know what you're up to on this Friday. Getting ready into a busy Syracuse sports weekend. Lacrosse tomorrow at noon. Hoops tomorrow, 10 o'clock at night. Going dawn till dusk tomorrow with Syracuse sports. You can hear it all over on TK99. Paulie will be here with pre- and post-game tomorrow on the radio for the basketball. Take that, Paulie. Successfully pawned it all off on him. That sucker. Oh, what do we got on the show today? Mario will be by. We'll get a little six-pack coming up at 4:30 with Mr. Sacco. Like all lacrosse picks. Is he going just all axe in the six-pack today? I don't know. The man that sort of knows may have investigated the lacrosse scene because, yes, you can gamble on it. Get that later in the show. Next hour, we'll turn our attention a little bit to the game tomorrow. That is Syracuse and the Cal Bears out on the left coast. 10 p.m. tip time. We'll have no wrong answers for you. Q St. Cal. Now we will talk to the voice of the Cal Bears, Justin Allegri. We've talked to him a few times before, going back to football season. Justin was just, this was ACC basketball on Wednesday. Justin was in Dallas for Cal SMU. Noted ACC rivals. Wednesday in Dallas. Now he's back to California for the second all-time meeting between Syracuse and Cal on the basketball court. We'll see if the Bears can get back in this yet, but that's coming up tomorrow night at 10 o'clock out there on, what is it? I think ESPN2 is the television tomorrow. I do believe it's on one of those ESPNs. It's definitely on the TK99 on your radio, so be sure to check that out as we roll into this Friday program here today. We're glad to have you along with us. Phone lines open throughout today, of course, as always, at 315-437-7644. If you'd like to chime in, say what's up about the hoops, the football, whatever is on your mind here today. Again, Mario in about half an hour. Justin Allegri talking Cal Bears in the next hour. With that, let's get it going here on a Friday.
We start with the Burdick BMW opening drive.
All right, where to begin here on this Friday. Let's take a spin around. Where should we begin? Let's begin with the basketball tomorrow. With a game that, we're looking at the game. We got Syracuse and Cal. It's, the Orange, not a great team. I think we know that. They're 9-12. They're 3-7 in the league. Yep, we know that. What else do we know? Okay, we got Cal. They're 11-10. They're 4-6 in the league. All right, no great shakes here. This is a gut check kind of game here for Syracuse. This is a season that is twisting off the deep end, or in some of your minds has disappeared off the deep end long ago. This is a conversation that we now legit have to have, or are going to have for sure if Syracuse loses tomorrow. Syracuse right now today, they're only a half game up on the final 3 spots in the ACC. And you might say, why does that matter? You know, in a season like this, what's the difference between, 18th, 15th, 14th, 12th in the league? What's the difference? None of it's good. And there's a certain point to that. But if you are Syracuse basketball this year, like if there's one thing you can do this year in making the NCAA tournament and all the stuff we like to talk about and bubble watch and, bracket watches and bracketology, all the stuff we like to do that there's no good reason to do right now, that, it's going to take the air out of the balloon a little bit come February. Like if we got to be on ACC tournament watch, like can they make the ACC tournament watch this year? That's not the kind of watch that anybody wants to be a part of. Tomorrow's a gut check game to avoid that. Because if you lose tomorrow and then come back and just get cracked upside the head by Duke, and then you're going into, what's the standing say? Right. Last and second to last. BC and Miami. You can find one ACC win between them coming up on next Saturday, and then midweek after that down in Miami. If you somehow dump any of those games, lose this game, now we're setting up all-time epic grease fire of a season. Tomorrow's a big game to let's back away from the ledge a little bit. Let's just take a few steps back. And then you look at the beginning of games. We talked yesterday about how the beginning of games recently haven't been good, but then there also have been some games where the beginning was fine, but then there was another period that was a mess. Mike Waters did a little research on this that he put out in his mailbag this week, that Syracuse has played 21 games. That was not the research he did. Syracuse has played 21 games. We know this. We know how the TV timeout format works in these games. There is what is called an under 16 timeout, a.k.a. once we pass 16 minutes to go in the first half, at the next dead ball, they will take a timeout, and you will enjoy some fine commercial presentations. Syracuse, at the under 16 media timeout, Mike went and looked this up, has been in the lead 5 times, has been behind 15 times, and has been tied once. 5-15-1 at the under 16 timeout in the first half. 5-15-1. Now, not all of them were as dramatic as, oh my goodness, it's 25-2. Now, that was beyond that was past the under 12 timeout. That was deep into the first half on Wednesday out at Stanford. But the story is developing here that like games start and then Syracuse starts the game later is basically the gist. Now, some of those, you could be down 6-4. You're trailing. You could be down by 1 point. You're still trailing. But this is not a fast-starting basketball team. And recently, it's been an extremely slow starting basketball team. They've been out on the West Coast for a week, closing on it. Left on Monday. Today's Friday. Tomorrow's Saturday. We know how days work. They'll be out there a whole week. A whole week. You're settled in. You're used to it all. You've been out there a minute. Might as well be home now. You've had your mail forwarded. You're ready to go. You've actually been there longer than Cal. Cal was in Dallas on Wednesday. Now they're back. Teams are all over hell and gone. That's what it is here in the world in 2025 in college sports. Can Syracuse get something out of this game? The people that are done with it, done with red, whatever, like nothing's going to change in this game. Nothing could change the rest of the season that's going to change minds in that. But can you show something tomorrow night that not shows fight? We've seen this team show fight. This team was down 23 the other night. They got it back within 6 with the ball late in the game. Like, they got to have a chance. That doesn't happen by, complete mailing it in. But we got to see that from the jump ball. We got to see that from somewhere before you've dug yourself into a hole that takes a giant ladder to climb out of. Can we see that early in a game where Syracuse from the get-go is like, all right, we are here to play some ball tonight? Is that on the head coach? Is that on the players? Is that on, whoever puts together the pregame mix of music? I don't know. I don't care. I don't care. Can whoever it is put something on the court at 10 o'clock tomorrow night that at like 10:01 is actually doing something? tomorrow. Does that mean changing the starting lineup again? Maybe. Jaquan Carlos has been playing better of late. I know people love to hear that. Do you put him back in for Chapa? Will that do something from the get-go? Maybe. Who knows? Can J.J. Starling get it going early? We've seen games where he has done that in the past. Can there be a consistent something from the start of the game that at least gives them something to grab onto tomorrow night? It's no longer about making the tournament. It's about making the other tournament. It's no longer about that. Right now it's about pride. Remembering you are Syracuse basketball. Remembering that means something. Means something to all of us, right? That's all we want, is the people wearing the jersey to show it means the same to them as it does to us. And at the start of these games recently, it's like, we're not getting that. Certainly not in a mass effort. Can we get that tomorrow night? Can we get it validated that we're going to be up late watching this game? Like, that takes effort. That takes effort. More effort than I'd care to admit to be, bleary-eyed at late hours. God, we're getting old. It didn't used to take effort to be up to midnight to watch a basketball game. That didn't used to require effort back in the day. I was like, we're just getting started here. We can crank it up. Takes effort these days. We want to see that effort given back to us in kind, right? Can we see something at 10 o'clock in the 10 to 10:10, 10:15 range that makes us think, all right, this is a good investment of my time for the next 2 hours? We're being validated in what we're about to do for the next 2 hours. That'll be nice to see coming up tomorrow night out in California. Because I don't know, besides that, like, we're kind of beyond the X's and O's and the, all right, who's going to play well and this and that. It's unfortunately not what the season's become. It's not what the conversations about the team are. It's not the way we used to watch the game when you're like, all right, who's this week? Okay, who's got to play well? What's the matchup? What are we doing here? We wish it would get back to that. That's a lot more fun. That's a lot more fun way to go through a basketball season, to anticipate a game and what are they going to have to do to win the game. And, we'll get into that stuff later. But it feels like every game now is a referendum on the history and the future of the entire Syracuse basketball program. Every game is a referendum of the mistakes of the past and the potential mistakes of the future, as opposed to just being a game. Just being a game that's coming up this weekend, and it'll be fun, and we'd like to win it. Every game's a referendum of something. So it'd be nice if it was a positive referendum for a change that shows us there is a little something backbone to the team. That we know this is not the most talented bunch of Syracuse basketball players. We know that. We all have eyes. We're all aware of what's going on. But if they can give us just a little something to hang on to. So when you're bleary-eyed on the couch at 11:30 tomorrow night, hanging on for dear life to make it to the finish line, you feel like you put something in and you're getting it back. That's all we want. That's all we want. That's our Burdick BMW opening drive for the day today. With that, we'll take a break. When we come back, phone lines open for the next bit. 315-437-7644. I was going to do like a Shrine Bowl recap, but not like, who are those guys that were playing? I don't know. Talk about that as well when we come back after this. We'll chat next on the phones at 315-437-7644. More to come after this on a Friday. It's Q Sports Talk and ESPN Radio. It might be me, Tronic. It's not my car. People bashing windows in the parking lot today. Who did that? Yeah, that's my car, Mike. Was it you? That's exactly what someone would say. Well, yeah, somebody bashed out the window. Here, in this parking lot. Approximately 10 a.m., give or take. I think I'd been here less than 45 minutes.
You know what the issue was? You didn't park where you usually do.
That's because someone was in my spot. Should I bash their window out?
Or snowball. Who was in your spot?
Like, I didn't just not take my assigned parking space because on a whim I parked somewhere else.
So that's where it started then.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Someone was mad you parked in their spot.
Is it one of you in the chat? You don't like me yelling at y'all in the chat? You're coming for my windows? Could be. I don't know. Is that any of these people I've been getting into a Twitter fight with recently? Are they taking it out of my car?
I got the same window bashed out twice.
Yeah.
But it was by a homeless person, and they definitely tried to steal it, but they didn't.
No. It's possible. I mean, realistically, Kev, that's probably what happened.
It was a homeless person who just wanted to sleep and also to steal my car. I was cool with the sleeping part.
No. I wish, I think I might have had like $20 in there or something that I don't have in there anymore.
Yeah.
But I would have rather just left it unlocked if that was going to be the case.
Yeah. That's what I started doing once my window got broken. Now I don't, because I don't carry anything that's important.
The funny thing about, of all the things that can happen to your car, literally having the glass broken is randomly the best, because people will fix that quickly.
It is, but it's also so inconvenient because you have to fix it quickly.
Yes.
Because it's a window.
Yes. The fine people at Safe Light Repair, Safe Light Replace. You're all singing it now.
Am I up 2 or 1?
I think you're up 2.
Okay.
They'll be coming tomorrow to my house.
And I start because I scored on myself. I got puck first.
Is that? Oh, yeah, that's right.
I scored on myself last time. All right. You ready, people?
I don't know, but
No, look! Did I make it? Did I make it?
I don't like this day. I don't like this day at all.
Sorry, man.
I don't like this day. I went with we had some cardboardish things around here and some gaffer's tape. Hopefully that'll hold for the ride home.
It was done well. Really MacGyvered it up.
I taped it up nice. I was getting compliments on my taping from all who watched.
So, actually, I do have more questions.
Okay.
So were you like, there's a disturbance in the force, or someone like, hey, you're missing a window?
So I was sitting here, I was being disturbed because the Kleenex on my desk had been moved for some reason. So I reached for a Kleenex this morning, and there was no box there. So I was trying to find that. Crime of the century.
Mm-hmm.
And then Paul came in and said that Rick Gary, our morning show guy over on Sunny, said, hey, go tell Brian I think his window's been smashed out. And I said, what in the hell are you talking about?
So how long were you here for?
I had been here an hour at the absolute most by that point.
I'm telling you, someone got here, and you were in their parking spot. We need to find who was in yours.
The thing is, the spot I was in is the one spot we have that isn't anyone's spot.
Is it really?
Yeah.
You know, this is funny because when I first rolled
in... Which is why I parked in that spot when my spot was taken.
I was like, there's an alarming amount of open spots here. Usually Brian parks here. And then I got out of my car.
Yeah.
And I went, that car's missing a window. And then I went, that looks a lot like Brian's car.
I like how that's as far as you got with it.
Yeah. And then I forgot by the time I got to the building.
The building is 4 feet away.
And then I forgot. Yeah. And then you mentioned it. I remember.
Yeah. So, the cops were really excited to investigate this in no way whatsoever. Yeah. I called 911 and they sent me to a website. Like a website?
See, that's the part of technology I hate. We don't need a website. Give me a person. Let me talk to him.
Yeah. Thankfully, the Safe Light Repair website of my insurance company, I think I'm done everything I needed to do. All right, back at it here on, what day is it? Is it Friday yet? Oh, what good news. It's Friday. It is Friday. Hoops tomorrow. Lax tomorrow. Let's go. Let's go. Got it coming and going tomorrow. We got noon. We got 10 o'clock at night. We got it all. Women's hoops on Sunday. Women's lax doesn't start till I think it's Friday, next Friday. They're kind of a week behind this year. That's usually the other way. So, we got it all coming up here in the Syracuse sporting universe here this winter. Man, last night, do you remember what's on tap yesterday where I'm like, hey, Shrine Bowl, that could be fun. And, yeah. No, it wasn't. That's why I don't watch it, because it usually doesn't have Syracuse people. And I think it was Jackson Meeks the only one that played. He made one nice catch. I saw that on the social media after the fact. But Kyle McCord did not play last night, much to our chagrin. Though I get it. Like, the whole point of those games is not the game. The game is literally the last thing that matters even a little bit to any of the prospects down there. The practices, and Kyle McCord was a star from all accounts every day in practices, as was Aronde Gadsden, who also did not play in the game last night. That, and you get to interview some teams, and you get to interact with pro football coaches and all of them. Some Giants coaches were involved in coaching the teams due to their readily availability in the playoffs this year. They were free. But, like, the game doesn't matter at all. Doesn't matter a lick. So, while I would have liked to see Kyle McCord play again a little bit, I get it. I get it. We'll have to wait until he is in the National Football League, and Oronde and the whole crew, Jackson Meeks and Fadil Diggs. I don't know if he played either, and Cinco Clark. At least McCord did not play yesterday. Senior Bowl stuff going on. Man, LaQuint Allen is getting some high praise down in Mobile. He's getting some high praise down in Mobile. This is from Chris Johnson. What was his nickname? Was he YK2J? What the heck did he name himself back in the day? CJ2K? I don't remember. He ran for 2,000 yards with the Titans. CJ2K. There it is. I knew there was letters in 2K. He ran for 2,000 yards in the NFL in a season. He was rather fast. He, I guess, is there and tweeted out yesterday that he's the guy out of the running backs. He likes LaQuint Allen. This is from a guy that, did that in the NFL at the highest level. People are loving LaQuint. People are really loving LaQuint. I think, now maybe he's getting loved enough that this isn't going to matter, though I'd say out of positions where this matters, running back is generally one of them. Like, whatever Kyle McCord runs in the 40, assuming he runs a 40, is not going to matter a wink. LaQuint's 40 will matter if he's at the combine or his pro day or wherever he runs it. Like, LaQuint's 40 will matter. If he runs like a 4.5 or something, I think he's in good shape. I don't know how fast he is. Like, he's not a breakaway guy. It's not really his game. He's fast enough. He's not the biggest guy, but he's big enough to run you over if he feels like it, and he's got good hands and blocker and the whole thing. But you look at the modern NFL game, which kind of took a little bit of a swing back this year with Saquon and Derrick Henry and the big years everybody had. Like, there was the most 1,000-yard running backs, and I forget how many years, but it was a while in the NFL. So I don't know if LaQuint, even though, yes, he did run for 1,000 yards in back-to-back seasons here, it doesn't really feel like that would be his role at the NFL. But he can run the ball. He can catch the ball. He can block for the passer. He's getting praise from draft analysts like Mel Kiper. He's getting praise from NFL stars of years gone by like Chris Johnson. Yeah. I think our guy LaQuint is in way better shape than we might have realized at the end of the season. Now, the NFL, especially running back, is a production business. Like, he's going to have to, whether he gets drafted or not, though now I feel more likely he'll get drafted than I did a month ago, that you got to earn your way on the field and produce when given the chance and all that good stuff. But you hear in the observations and all this stuff, that's telling me, because this stuff's coming from practice. Practice? Yeah, practice. In this scenario, practice matters. This stuff's coming from practice. And if this stuff's coming from practice, and we kind of know how LaQuint, handles his business, that when he gets in training camp, in mini camp, and all that stuff, like, some guys, they need the bright lights on, right? Like, all right, they do fine in practice, but their skills don't really quite show themselves in full until you're in a game. Mobile quarterbacks, I feel, are the ones where this really pops the most because, you're not hitting the quarterback in practice, and they can't quite show what makes them special in practice. I always go back to preseason practices in 2018. If you watch DeVito and Dungy, you're like, well, I don't know who the best guy is here. But then when you turn them loose in the games, you're like, oh, right. Duh. Lamar Jackson in practice, I'm sure, is fine, but when he can't get out and scoot around, like, what's the point? LaQuint is the opposite. He brings it every second in practice. He is not going to leave a single shred of doubt in an NFL training camp this summer of what he is. Whether that's the right thing or good enough or any of that, I don't know. But he's not going to get shortchanged on it. Absolutely not. So when I hear all these reports that people are watching him practice at the Senior Bowl and they like what they're seeing, I'm like, okay, like, this is not a fluke because that's exactly who that guy is. That's exactly who he is. And it's exactly, if they like it now, he's not just doing it now, like, I'll get noticed now, then we can, slack off a little bit. Yeah, no, that's not that guy. That's not that guy. So, good for them. Like, for all this excitement of the year, you get to all these weeks. Usually these weeks come and, maybe there's one story like a couple years ago. It's like, hey, Matthew Bergeron did well. Like, oh, that's great. And then you just all kind of move on. This year, it's like, this guy's doing well. That guy's doing well. Over here's doing well. Over there's doing well. Up and moving up draft boards. This is really cool to see. Really cool to see. We're about slightly less than 3 months out from the NFL draft, tail end of April this year. It's in Green Bay. That's where the draft is this year. They've gone to Titletown. There will be lots of cheese. We'll see where these Cuse guys get drafted. And for the first time in a long time, I feel confident in saying that there will be multiple Cuse guys drafted in the NFL draft. All right, with that, we will step aside for a few. We'll get Mario in with the six-pack and more after this. It's Q Sports Talk and ESPN Radio, cruising along on a Friday.
The Sport.
Yeah, the security cameras, I'd say the window they would have hit would have been a blind spot, probably. And if so, nobody feels inclined to crack the crime of the century. Find it funny, like that, like just ho-hum. When people ran over my suburban mailbox, I had like a task force there in 45 seconds. Yeah, it was Gerard. I was going to blame Red. Everything's Red's fault now. Yeah, but nobody. Like, 911, hello. All right, where are you? Name, blah, blah, blah. What happened? All right. Okay. She's like, I think she told me, it's like, well, we have a phone number for stuff like this, but it's not staffed all the time. I'm like, all right. And then I got a website address. Then when I got to the website address, it said you can't report car stuff on that. I'm like, okay. So then I just did the insurance and safe light stuff and moved on. Shop vac will be getting a workout later. You got a guy, KC fan? You got a little something laying around? Diggs left early? I didn't miss on that. Hang on, let's not ignore the YouTube chat. Now, I'm really confused why Q Sports Talk sent out the random line last time, because I closed the program that would have sent it out. So now I'm moving into a baffled line. It was also, I was in the middle of working on that this morning when I was told that my window got bashed in. So work got slightly sidetracked. But then we'll need somebody to care to run it and stuff like that, KC fan. There is that problem. We do have a lot of PTZ stuff we use around here. That's a lot of our cameras have that we can control it remotely and whatnot. I know what that means, right? I know what that is. It's still a bit early for that, Phil, for college basketball lines. Maybe CBW has one in the darker recesses of the web. What's my prediction of a line for tomorrow? Cal by 3.5. I'd say without doing any research on the topic whatsoever, CBW, I'm going to guess the answer to that is no. Yes. I will have the Cal play-by-play guy on in about 45 minutes from now. I think he'll be fantastic. I feel good about it. He's on VMix.
Why? It's the 315. Here's Brian Higgins.
If you walk through the garden.
All right, rolling along here on this Friday. Glad to have you in. We'll crack over the phone lines again in a little bit. We'll get more into the actual basketball on the court tomorrow. Coming up next hour, no wrong answers, and the voice of the Cal Bears, Justin Allegri, all coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. With that, let's go to the phones, bring in our first guest on this Friday. It is Mario Sacco. You weren't in here hosting today, Mario. I actually haven't seen you today. I feel this is unusual recently.
I know, but I feel bad for you, buddy. Sorry about your car mishaps.
Yes. So my car window has been bashed out, and we're looking for. You're on the list, Mario. I don't know where you were at today. So
I guess why you haven't seen me today,
exactly.
buddy. I wanted those Brewfest tickets.
Exactly. I feel you're on the lam, so I'm a little bit concerned about all that. All right, what tickles your fancy most this weekend? We got the Lax starting tomorrow.
We'll do Lax and then make our way into basketball.
All right. We'll start with the happy topic first. How about that?
Thank you for your John Galloway sound. It was currently ran roughly about 3 minutes ago on News Channel 9.
Okay.
Found the great interview with Galloway and coming home. It's hard to believe that he's been in head coach for 9 seasons now. I just pulled the old video of him. Man, was he such a stud goalie?
That was that was just 2 years ago, right? We're not that old. I'm certain of it.
He still looks like he's 21. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
59 wins, NCAA all-time leader. I don't know if that record still stands or the kid from Maryland's got to be close to it, if I had to guess. But yeah, 2-time first-team All-American, 2 national titles. He's the only freshman and sophomore goalie to ever win back-to-back national titles.
Yeah, he was for a while. I forget if one of the Duke guys. I think he's still the only goalie that won a title as a freshman that ever won a title again. That was the stat at the time.
Yeah.
It might have been equaled, but yeah, he's definitely the only one that did it freshman sophomore year. That's for sure.
If you had to guess what his dog's name is, what would you guess?
Well, I don't know the answer.
I'll give you a hint. Top Gun.
Oh, does he got a dog named Maverick?
Very good.
Okay. I was gonna guess. I was gonna guess.
John Galloway.
I was gonna guess Otto. I thought it was gonna be Cuse related.
It is not a Wildcat for West.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. I was not. Yeah. Here's my dog, Monsieur. I wasn't gonna.
Mikey Monsieur.
I wasn't gonna guess that.
Yeah. As far as the game tomorrow, it's always one of those games at the beginning of the year where Syracuse, a freak injury happens. And I'm knocking on wood right now as I say this, their defensive unit coming into the season and middies are going to be very good, I think. And if we can keep those guys healthy tomorrow and obviously throughout the season, that's going to be a big key because Syracuse is going to score. The firepower that they have on offense, with Owen Hiltz, Joey Spallina, Michael Leo, Finn Thompson. You can go down the line. But, can they shut down teams? And I think you guys on Orange Nation had Coach Adurna on earlier. He takes pride in that and wanting to, be a better defensive unit. And obviously it starts in net. And who are we going to see in net? I don't know tomorrow. He said between a couple of guys, if I had to guess, it would be the McCool kid. But, I don't know that. So, what are we going to get from him in his first probably start for Syracuse come tomorrow?
Yeah, my guess is Jimmy McCool gets the start tomorrow, but, you look at roster changeover from last year, and there were a few losses, but it wasn't widespread. You had 75% of your offense coming back, yada, yada, yada. Goalie is the main one. Because, you need a guy. You need a guy in May that can make you a save at the biggest of times if you're going to win one of these titles.
Yeah, and it's, you name the guys, the Spallina, the Hiltzes, but, who is that other guy offensively that you might need to stand up this year? Is it a Michael Leo? That, as we talked about what we saw against the Denver, against Duke, that you need to be able to take your guy off the ball, and go one-on-one. And Syracuse wasn't able to do that last year. Like, can they do that this year? You're losing a guy in Jake Stevens that was very good, obviously playing at the next level, the PLL level. Who's going to replace him? Sam English, I think, is a guy that could have a nice year for Syracuse, and Rice at the short stick. I think he could be a key for this lacrosse team this year.
Yeah, I look at it. I think, I was talking to Tim Leonard about this yesterday, and he's got the game with Kyle tomorrow.
He has a little more and probably did a little bit more research than me. So.
Yeah, but it was the same question, because I look at this offense, and, as great as Joey Spalina is, and he's fantastic, and as great as Owen Hiltz is and Finn Thompson and, all the Canadian stuff they're throwing around, like, when they're clicking, it's the prettiest thing going in college lacrosse right now. Like,
it's ridiculous to watch.
Yeah.
I think I stood there in practice watching them skip balls around, and I was like, oh, this is unbelievable. But, they talk about bringing old school Syracuse lacrosse back, and that's nice and all, but, you got to be able to, in crunch time, win games, and hopefully, the past experiences has helped this team.
Yeah, because you look at, you go back, they've won 11 titles. You pick any one of those 11 title teams, I don't care which one. You're going to find that at minimum they had a guy that late in the game, one-goal game, tie game, that when all else failed, get him the ball and get out the way, and he's going to figure it out. And that's my major question about this team this year, because, as good as Joey is, and he's great, that's just not the way he plays. That's not his general style of lacrosse.
And that's not saying that he's not going to be a guy that produces 6-7 points. He had 88 points last year. You're hoping that he could be around 100 this year. But as you mentioned, he's not the guy. 10 seconds on a shot clock. Let's go 1-on-1 and try and beat your defender.
Yeah, and again, most of the time they don't need to, and that's an asset, because when that offense is humming. It's fantastic. Now, look at the defensive side of the field, and you mentioned John O'Dearna. He was on Orange Nation earlier today. You look at Billy Twan. He's a fantastic player. Riley Figueres is nails. They got some dudes on the back end.
Is awesome on the back end. He's a shutdown defender that you're looking at on the back end, and that's what you need with that. And, will they get tested against Jacksonville tomorrow? I don't know. Galloway's had pretty good teams. He's 39-12 over the last 3 seasons. So I guess we'll find out on Saturday. A lot of question marks coming in maybe on that side. What you're getting offensively. But, that's where I kind of will have my eye on tomorrow at noon.
And again, that's noon. And Jacksonville, you said it, listening to Galloway earlier this week, he's still the same exact guy that we knew for all those years way back when. It's really cool to see. And, obviously you don't want them to win tomorrow in the Dome, but, man, it would be nice if he could make the tournament this year. They've been so close the last few years if he can knock down the door this year.
Yeah, 13-5 last year. They fell to Utah in the conference championship game. The year before, I think they were 14-3 and got upset by Robert Morris.
Yep.
I think in the semifinals, I think it was, and maybe the quarters. And then I think he was 12-4. Does that add up to 39?
I know he's won 39 games in 3 years. I know that's the total.
That wasn't the strong point, buddy.
Yeah, I did that, man.
Good. And a couple wins. He plays Duke every year. They beat him 2023 they beat him.
Yeah, and they're playing them next week, so he's going Cuse Duke back-to-back to start the season.
I looked at their thing. They played 3 exhibition games. They scrimmaged Rutgers, scrimmaged Tampa, who's normally a Division II power, and Alabama Huntsville, I think. So, and I think SU had their first scrimmage last week, so.
Yeah, it's February 1st tomorrow. This stuff
February
starts.
1st, we're talking lacrosse. That's
so early.
Mind-boggling to me.
So early.
We're talking lacrosse. They have a game February 1st, and another one, and they have 3 games in 10 days. So.
Yeah, I think their third game is on the 9th. Maybe it's these are coming fast and furious here in the next few days. Game 3 is against Towson. It's the team that played in the first round of the tournament last year. So this is no joke.
A trip to Maryland.
Yeah,
so.
They're never any good, so that won't be a problem at all. Gary Gate does not.
They don't have a goalie that's not wearing the all-time number at Maryland right now.
Yeah,
Corning kid.
That's man. The schedule's loaded. Everywhere you look, it's going to be fantastic this year. And I think part of the reason, we always like when Lax comes back, and we're both into it. But I think part of the reason we're latching onto it so much right now is because of the other thing happening tomorrow night, and that's the basketball game at 10:00. And man, it's just not fun right now. This is we got to hopefully see some signs of life from this team tomorrow night.
Yeah, 3 straight losses falling to Stanford. Obviously, you can beat a dead horse on that one of what went wrong there. But, you need JJ to score in the 20s, 25, 24 points for this team to be able to win. Cal might be shorthanded. They had a guy in concussion protocol. They're one of the big man, a Stojakovic kid. Obviously, his dad, guessing he could shoot too, has been nicked up, and he might not play tomorrow. So, but still, Cal took an SMU team right down to the wire, and SMU is one of the best teams in the conference. So, on the road, late night game, not doing SU any favors, playing at 10, and then having to take a red eye back, but that's neither here nor there. But you would just want to see some type of consistency out of this team for at least 30 minutes because, we haven't seen that in pretty much all season.
Yeah, and especially from the start. Like I said it earlier, Mike Waters broke down some of the numbers earlier today. The Orange have had the lead at the under-16 timeout in the first half 5 times all year. They've played 21 games. They haven't all been like the last game. It's not like they've been getting shellacked at the under-16 in these games. It was like, man, you'd think you'd trip into being up 10-8 a couple of times at that point of a game. We got to see something from the start of these games.
It's just the same song and dance with the team of not being able to guard a ball screen, not being able to work off a screen and move the ball offensively. And you hear Red on the sidelines move the ball, and it sticks with these guys on offense, and that's when they get in trouble. You can't be a minute and a half in taking fadeaways from 17 feet. That's not a recipe for success.
No, man, it has not been. So that is tomorrow night at 10. I said what we have had success with recently, Mario, is the six-pack. We're actually feeling good about this recently.
Yeah, you gave me an extra win. I did go 3-3 last week. Thanks for trying to sneak in an extra win for me.
Yeah, I tried. I thought maybe I misheard your pick, so...
Yeah, 15-8-1 since the month of January. 3-3 last week. So
all right.
We got 3 lax games and 3 hoops games.
We got to play the open here, or else none of this counts.
Shut up, Mario.
Okay.
Keep your mouth quiet.
Without the music, none of the picks become official. I think that's the rules.
It's time for Mario to make you money.
Your money? You know what else? You're a big winner.
Or maybe not.
And it's gone. Money!
Here's the Sacco six-pack.
All right, now you may begin.
Okay. Want to start with college basketball first? Let's go.
Okay.
Yeah, of course we got a MAC game in there tonight. The battle for Northeast Ohio taking place at Kent State tonight as Akron makes that whopping 15-minute trek over to Kent State to take on the Golden Flash. Akron, give me Akron on the money line. The line's 1.5. You're not getting there. Akron on the money lines plus 110 at Kent State. Georgetown takes on Butler. Georgetown's kind of been reeling. Butler stinks, but they did give Marquette a game a couple of nights ago. Give me Georgetown at home in that one, -3. And I was kicking this one around. Tennessee and Kentucky the other night was pretty good. Florida's been good all year, but Tennessee's at home. I tend to like the team at home. Give me Tennessee -4 in that one against the Gators tomorrow down in, I think that's in Knoxville. So, yeah, there we go. There's your 3 college hoops games. Your lax games, it tends to be every year at the beginning of the year. I always pick Ohio State. Give me the Buckeyes again, -4 against Utah. Give me Duke. This is a big line, but I still like them. Duke -11 against Bellarmine. And Rutgers -1.5 at Lehigh.
Okay, there we go. A Rutgers-Lehigh battle, the battle of Jersey and Pennsylvania. Okay,
at Lehigh. The game is at Lehigh.
Okay, it's without looking at the forecast, it's probably going to be disgusting out for that game.
Yeah.
The fun
I'm guessing the Ohio State-Utah game is going to be much better.
No, that's that Ohio State. I feel sometimes plays maybe in their indoor football facility for crap games like that. Yeah, this is what happens when we play lacrosse on February 1st.
I looked at the schedule and then I looked at all the games being played in the northeastern area. I'm like, good God, no, thank you. Outside, I don't think so.
It's crazy.
Cornell doesn't start for another 3 weeks.
Yeah, save for the dome, everything else is bonkers. It's just straight up. It's going to be 17 degrees tomorrow. It's straight up bonkers.
If you're playing down in Jacksonville or
Yeah.
I don't know. Somewhere down that.
Everyone should, everyone should go visit Galloway this week. Like, everyone should go down there, play him down there.
Yeah.
All right, man. Enjoy tomorrow. Catch you later. There he is.
Everybody, take care.
There he is. Yes, Fever. Watch Fever tonight. The Fever Friday night basketball. All the good stuff. News Channel 9 starting at 11 o'clock with the news. Mario, Steve, and the whole crew. All right, with that, we'll take a break. Phone lines open after this. 315-437-7644. Little man who sort of knows, little no wrong answers, little talk of Cal with their voice, Justin Allegri. All that on a Friday. It's Q Sports Talk and ESPN Radio. Oh, chat. I do like that if you get your windows smashed, that you can actually get it fixed kind of quickly, unlike anything else if it goes wrong with your car. So, there is that. Small victories. The question is, how will my tape job of the cardboard over the window hold on 690 in about an hour and 15 minutes? It was wet outside when I was taping. I wiped the area dry. We had gaffer's tape, as to hopefully not leave a mark on the paint on my car. And by we, I mean I had gaffer's tape. So if you get hit by a random white piece of cardboard, we're 7-point dogs, Kev? Yes, the fact that it's been sitting outside and whatever's been happening all day likely won't be helpful. Super excited to do some shop vacuuming. Why is it still sending that? I closed the program. How is that happening? Baffling. That is a football line, Kev, based on the link that you have sent. Because that says college football matchups. We've been hacked. They've hacked my Windows. That's enough out of you, KC fan. That's almost enough to make me root for the Eagles in the Super Bowl. Not quite enough, but it's close. The heck? What the heck happened to the call screener? It's frozen. How will I know if I have calls? That was very peculiar. I mean, I literally closed the program that should be initiating the code that would be sending the thing. How is it still doing it? These are quickly becoming Monday problems.
All across CNY, it's the 315. Here's Brian Higgins.
All right, rolling along here on this Friday. Phone lines open, 315-437-7644. We got our normal Friday shenanigans to get into. No wrong answers for the Cal game coming up. Can the Orange find some right answers? That'll be good. Justin Allegri of the Cal Radio Network, voice of the Bears. He'll be joining us in a little less than a half an hour or so, because he was just in Dallas for a Cal SMU ACC game. Makes perfect sense. What is askew about that? Nothing I say. Nothing I say.
Could we have the money now?
I'm telling you, it's a lock.
What if there was a restaurant that didn't serve any food and just served up gambling?
Father was a mother. His mother was a mother.
I thought gambling was illegal.
Not if no one sees you do it.
Guaranteed bets.
The man is a gambler.
Results not guaranteed.
Pay that man his money.
It's the man who sort of knows.
All right, here's what the man who sort of knows thinks he knows this week. A 3-2 week last time out. We've got a little basketball, both college and professional. We've got Lax. It's back. We also have Turning Left. NASCAR returns this weekend as well. It's a very man who sort of knows week of picks. We start tonight in the association in Milwaukee. San Antonio visiting the Bucks, which means Victor Wembanyama will be in action. His total for blocks in the game today is 2.5. Did you know this? Milwaukee takes more shots near the rim than any other team in the league. Well, if they're going to be near the rim, you would figure that Victor's going to be near the rim and trying to block some of those shots. He's the best shot blocker in the league. Take the over, block shots, 2.5 for Wemby tonight. Also in the NBA this evening, it's the Sixers on the road at Denver. Tyrese Maxey for the Sixers is their healthy star right now, as Joel Embiid, a shock upon shocks, is hurt and just never plays in Denver. He hasn't played in Denver, I forget what the number is, in like multiple years. He's like, Denver, my body, I can't, Denver, I just can't, I can't do it. Anyway, when Joel Embiid is out, Tyrese Maxey goes off. Tyrese Maxey especially goes off from far away from the hoop when Joel Embiid comes off. Take the over Tyrese Maxey, 3.5 made threes tonight at the Nuggets. He hits this number 75% of the time when Embiid is not playing. Sample size large. College basketball tomorrow. It's the Calipari Bowl. Arkansas at Kentucky. Arkansas is a 10.5-point dog at John's old stomping grounds, Rupp Arena. That's a lot of spread. Too much spread. Kentucky probably wins it, but Arkansas and Calipari cover the 10.5 in his return to Rupp tomorrow. College lacrosse season begins tomorrow, February the 1st, with Syracuse and Jacksonville face off 12:02, very specifically in the Dome tomorrow, if you'd like to be really prompt with your watching and listening tomorrow. Game on ACC Network Extra and TK99, of course. The total of the Duke-Bellarmine game, in which Duke is an 11-goal favorite, is 26.5. When it comes to lacrosse, the man that sort of knows one thing and knows one thing only. Bet Duke overs. Take the over, Duke and Bellarmine. And NASCAR this weekend. Remember the clash at the Coliseum where they set up a track inside the LA Coliseum the last couple of years? That was kind of neat. Well, they're not doing it there this year. They're doing it at Bowman Gray Stadium in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. That's lacking the same panache. Either way, they've put a very small track inside a football stadium. That's all you need to know. It's a super short oval track. Kyle Larson is the best in the world on short tracks. Top 5, Kyle Larson. The clash at Bowman Gray Stadium, it doesn't have a ring. Plus 150, Kyle Larson to go top 5 in the race this weekend. Is that tomorrow? I don't know when the race is. The man that sort of knows where the race is, and that's all we need to know. To recap, Wemby over 2.5 blocks tonight. Tyrese Maxey over 3.5 threes tonight. Arkansas covers the spread tomorrow in Cal's return to Kentucky. Duke Bellarmine lacrosse over 26.5. And Kyle Larson top 5 as NASCAR kicks off the 2025 season. And that's what the man that sort of knows thinks he knows this week. With that, we will step aside for a few. Phone lines open next, 315-437-7644. Voice of the Cal Bears, Justin Allegri, in around about 20 minutes. When we come back, no wrong answers. What is happening tomorrow in Syracuse sports? Should I put in some lacrosse too? Maybe. Let's get nuts. We're back after this. It's Q Sports Talk and ESPN Radio. Mike is smushed into the door. There's a nose mark on there that's not yours, and yet you rubbed your nose into the window of the door anyway. Ah, sure. I couldn't tell. It looked like you were in the window. Mike is going to the bathroom. Now we all know. Yeah, it's not the same gravitas, San Diego Q's. It is lacking in gravitas. The clash at the... It's the gravitas ends mid-sentence. CBW is well versed in Bowman Gray Stadium racing. I'm not well versed in the stadium's existence. Oh, look at you! You gonna do one of them like pools where people get numbers? San Diego Q's. What do you What you got cooking? Yeah, wrestling is popular. I hear it in a popular local commercial. You get 2 numbers. That's nice. It would stink to get 1 number and just get like the joke return wrestler that you know is just there for a cheap pop. Was it last year when McAfee's music hit and he just walked up and like just turned around and went back? Oh yeah, it is an indie. Like, how do you not put it? You got to do something with them, right? Or you could just give them one of those like impromptu rando like 30-second matches that comes out of some weird promo. Yeah, something like that.
Way home, we drive into the second hour with Burdick BMW.
All right, that we do. Hour 2 is upon us on a Friday, which means just one more hour to go in our week before we fill our weekend with various Syracuse sports, lax hoops, and otherwise. What have we done so far? We've talked about hoops. We talked a little football that we didn't get what we were hoping for out of the Shrine Bowl last night because the Syracuse people didn't play in the game, except for Jackson Meeks, who did have a nice catch at one point whilst wearing a hoodie. We had Mario on. We got the six-pack. The man that sort of knows some things, and with that, we arrive today at hour number 2. We'll spend the next little bit here getting into the basketball game tomorrow evening. Justin Allegri is the radio voice of the Cal Bears program. He will join us coming up in less than 15 minutes. Tell us a little bit about Cal basketball. Because do you know anything about Cal basketball? Yeah. Exactly. You don't. I don't. You don't. We don't. I don't. Is Jason Kidd still there? What do we know about Cal basketball? Yeah. Well, that's why we're going to have Justin on. Because, man, oh, man. I don't. What are they? Have you seen Cal play basketball this year? No? Okay. Yeah, samesies. Haven't seen Cal play like a second of basketball this year. So we'll check in with our guy Justin Allegri coming up in a little bit more than 10 minutes. So hopefully we can learn all together a little bit something about Cal basketball this year. Man, 18-team conference. It's really hard to keep track of all the teams, right? It used to be, I realize like the Big East was huge with 16 teams by the end, but it used to be, at least to the major teams in the league, you had a pretty good sense of what was going on. Man, it is so spread all over hell and gone right now. It is really hard to keep a finger on the pulse of these things. Like, there's a lot of ACC teams. I just haven't seen them play this year. Like, who has the time to seek out all 8 teams? All 18 teams. Like, by the end of it, I'll have seen them all play because they will all eventually play Syracuse. But yeah, it takes a lot of effort to be on top of these things as a fan now. Plus, portal roster. It's not like, oh, I'm going to turn on the blank game because I want to watch this guy play. Remember him from last year? Yeah, he's fun. I like to watch him play. Yeah, that's not a thing anymore because you're like, who's on this team? Besides the obvious like Duke and whatnot. Anyway, sidetracked on a tangent. With that, let's focus on tomorrow. Let's focus on Syracuse. Let's tell you what's going to happen in tomorrow's games.
No wrong answers.
Give me a boy's name that starts with the letter H.
Jose.
There are no wrong answers.
What months of pregnancy does a woman begin to look pregnant?
September.
No wrong answers.
Something a burglar would not want to see when he breaks into a house. Right.
Naked grandma!
Naked, huh?
I'm like an animal.
Keep your voice down.
I'm like King Kong.
All right, no wrong answers. Cuse and Cal, perhaps a little bonus. No wrong answers, Cuse and the Fightin' Galloways in Jacksonville. We'll start with the auto loads. Again, this just pops up right in the Google Doc. Auto load, no Donnie Freeman tomorrow. I didn't even type it. It's just, it automatically knows to put it there. Donnie on the trip. I seen him in the background. I also saw his walking boot in the background. I mean, knock me over with a feather if he plays tomorrow. Maybe knock me over with a light stick if he plays at any point the rest of the season. This auto load has gotten a little shaky the last couple games, but it's still here and no wrong answers. It was very wrong last game, but gosh darn it, it's here again. J.J. Starling, 20-plus points, has once more auto-loaded into no wrong answers. Depending on what happens tomorrow, it may lose auto-load status, but I've got J.J. going for 22 tomorrow night out on the West Coast after a shaky, that's a nice way of putting it, 7-point performance on 3 of 16 shooting the other night against Stanford. No wrong answers. Jaquan Carlos back in the starting lineup. I think Red is going to make the move tonight. Tomorrow, very confident in this no wrong answer. You can hear it. I'm extremely confident. He's been playing better statistically of late. Ciampa has, Ciampa's really been struggling. I think you make the change tomorrow. Hopefully, I'd say I make the change tomorrow for 2 reasons. The beginning of the game has been a problem. Ciampa hasn't been giving you anything at the beginning of the game. Hopefully, it'll put Ciampa back in the role where he had started succeeding earlier in the year, coming off the bench. Hopefully, it allows Ciampa to come out and give you a little something off the bench. That's the hope. I don't know. I don't know if that's something that can be saved at this point of the season. But no wrong answers. Jaquan starts. I got him for 8 points tomorrow. And perhaps more importantly, no wrong answers. Ciampa off the bench, but comes in with effort, energy, and a few buckets. He gets 8 points off the bench tomorrow as well. No wrong answers. Eddie Lampkin goes for 12 and 10. We may just start auto-loading that as well because it seems foolish to predict otherwise for Lampkin of late. His games tend to be very similar from game to game. We gave you the numbers earlier courtesy of Mike Waters. Cuse, 5, 15, and 1 at the under 16 timeout this year. AKA, when the game starts, Syracuse is immediately behind for the most part. No wrong answers tomorrow. Same deal, but not as bad. It was 25-2 last game. It was 3-0, 9-0, 17-0. It was a mess last game. Syracuse will be down early, but won't be ridiculously down early. Yay, small improvements. 8-4 Cal at the under 16 timeout. First TV timeout will be Cal 8 and Syracuse 4. AKA, the comeback this time doesn't need to be nearly as dramatic for the Orange. Final score in a come-on, win a game kind of game for Syracuse tomorrow is the Orange 74 and the Bears 71, as the Orange have actually been in California longer than Cal has been this week, as they were out in Texas to face SMU the other night. Syracuse gets something out of this week-long trip out west and heads home with the win. Bonus no wrong answers from the Dome tomorrow. Bonus no wrong answers from the Dome. Noon face-off. Syracuse and Jacksonville. It is the lacrosse season opener. John Galloway, for the first time ever, has brought his Jacksonville Dolphins north to the Dome. Joey Spolina, no wrong answers. 8 points, starts the season in a big way. Or his normal way. They're both the same. One and the same. Big points are normal for Joey. Final score, no wrong answers in the Dome tomorrow. 19-12, Syracuse knocks off John Galloway in Jacksonville. A bonus, no wrong answers. We are deep in the bonus territory. Bonus, no wrong answers. Syracuse returns at long last. 12 years in the making, Syracuse finally makes it back to the Final Four in lacrosse. Finally. Man, it's been a long time. It has been a long time since Syracuse was up 5-0 after the first quarter of the 2013 National Championship game against Duke. Things get a little hazy that day after that point because Syracuse didn't have the ball for like an hour of real time because Duke kept winning all the faceoffs and everything went to hell. And who knew at that point that it would mean that Syracuse never got that close to a national championship ever again. So we'll see if that can turn around this season. Orange back to the Final Four. That's not for 4 months, though. We got a long runway of the lax season to deal with coming up this year. But no wrong answers. A good day for the Orange tomorrow. Sneak one out against Cal. Win it convincingly against Jacksonville and start the path toward the Final Four. With that, we'll step aside for a few. Let's get a little Cal in our lives. What do we know about the Cal Bears? Yeah, that's why we need Justin Allegri to join us next. We got a lot of questions to ask to learn a little something about Cal Bears basketball. Only the second all-time meeting ever between the two programs. Justin joins us after this here on Q Sports Talk and ESPN Radio. Yeah, I believe it's ACC Extra, ESPN Plus, that deal, T. Murphy. That's what Torvik has. Yeah, I think the game's going to be in that general range, one way or the other. The Cowboys are hiring the Cardinals' offensive line coach as their offensive coordinator. Okay. Not that I've seen San Diego Q's. Have the Texans hired anybody? That would be good news if they hired not Jeff. Houston Texans offensive coordinator. Here's an article from 5 hours ago. How did the whistle turn out yesterday? So here's the thing, Kev. I brought the whistle with me. I had it in the pocket of my work pants. I went there and, changed into basketball stuff in the locker room, and I left the whistle in the pocket of my work pants. So the whistle is very well secured in my gym bag, but I did not blow it. Though I did coordinate a dynamic game of basketball monkey in the middle. I think that had there was great excitement amongst the kindergartners to play a little basketball monkeying in the middle to work on their passing skills. Yes. Need to work on their passing skills. But I do have the whistle now in the proper bag to have it in the exact right place where I can use it next week. Yeah, we were running a lot of horns action, Gavendo. We like that. Yeah, a lot of high pick and roll, out of a horn set. Work a little 5 high, a little high-low dump down action. We ran the monkey in the middle where Max made a lot of monkey noises. Maybe we'll install the old school Carolina 4 corners offense with no goal of ever shooting. We're playing 4 corners. I'd say almost the opposite, Gavendo. ISO, no. Lots of crowding. We're doing the opposite of ISO. Everyone crowd together. The thing is, Gavendo, there aren't any games. There's no games to go to. No games on the schedule for the 5-year-olds. We're just getting them acclimated to the fine game of basketball. Yeah, the ball really. We're not quite ready for anything that actually looks like basketball. I don't think we might need a few more practices than we have on the schedule to pull that off. All right, back at it here on this Friday, getting you ready for a busy weekend of Syracuse sports. Everyone talks about crossover season, football and basketball at the same time. they know nothing of it. Crossover season is basketball and lacrosse at the same time. Yeah, we got it all going on here in the Cuse this weekend. Hoops out on the West Coast, Lax in the Dome tomorrow at noon. We got a lot of things going on here in the world. Syracuse has actually been in California most recently longer than our next guest, this is the ACC right now, because the voice of the Cal Bears, Justin Allegri, is with us. Go figure, Justin. Like, Cuse has been out there all week. You're crisscrossing the country out to Dallas for SMU. The new life of the ACC is a perplexing one indeed.
That statement is true, and it didn't really ring true until you said it out loud. That is kind of odd, yeah. But the Bears have 4 week-long road trips on their schedule this year. 2 of them are in the books, and anytime somebody comes out to California to play Cal and Stanford, they're going to take that week-long trip. So, yeah, Syracuse. Hopefully, they're enjoying their time and get a couple days in between. But it'll be a fun game tomorrow.
Yeah, I think when we last talked, Justin, you were literally in Memphis with the basketball team, getting ready to get back for the football game. What's the difference you've noticed, Ben? Like with the football games, yeah, you had to travel a lot, but it's one game. What have you noticed with the difference with these long multi-game trips that they're not a tournament, they're not anything special. These are normal games you're gone for a week for.
I think it varies on coaching staffs because in football, like you mentioned, it costs you an extra day. So anytime that the Bears went past the central time zone, they left on a Thursday for a Saturday game. So it costs you one extra day, but you get in town early, you can acclimate, you can get your walkthrough in a full day. For basketball, it varies on the coaching staff. For the Cal coaching staff, they want to get out to the central or East Coast time zone in a full day in advance. So we leave on a Monday for the Wednesday game and then travel to the next site the day after. One of those games was a Pitt Clemson, so we had to fly in between. One of them we just stayed in the Durham area. So it costs you that extra time. You're out there for 6 days. It wears on you a little bit. It all comes down to how you travel, how the players, keep fed, how they're keeping in shape, how they're keeping their academics up. There's a lot of factors, and it's just a lot more. And I'm sure you've seen the travel back. There have been a lot of reports on us coming back from the East Coast after games, and it's a haul. It's a haul. Your Sunday's pretty much shot, and then you got to get ready for the next game on Monday.
Yeah, and with the game tomorrow night being a night game out there, I mean, that's a 10 a.m. Eastern tip. It's a red-eye flight basically back this way for Syracuse. I'm going to guess they're going to land at, 7 in the morning or something like that. I believe the team is going to the Warriors game tonight, so that's kind of cool.
Oh, there you go.
For that. Give me a little geography here. From my understanding, Syracuse, you said you got to stay in the same place in Durham. Everything's kind of tightly packed down there for NC State and Duke and Carolina. My understanding here is Syracuse is actually at a different hotel here for the Cal game than they were for the Stanford game. How far apart are we? I know traffic out there is just bonkers. Like, how far apart are the two campuses? As the crow flies versus how reality works out there.
Right. Yeah. So if you can imagine the San Francisco Bay Area. If you're familiar with the geography, there's the opening to the bay that's right at San Francisco. And if you keep going in, the water brings you to Oakland. Just north of Oakland, not very far at all, is Berkeley. If you go down the peninsula on the opposite side of the water, down the peninsula south from San Francisco, about 45 minutes, that's where Palo Alto is. So you could, in theory, stay in the same hotel, maybe in the San Francisco area, and have a drive either north or drive either south to go to the respective schools. I would imagine if I was planning it, I would make the move just because you want to get in the area so that you can not have as much time in the bus and facing whatever traffic and crossing over the Bay Bridge to get from San Francisco to Oakland. But it sounds like if Syracuse is going to the game tonight, that's pretty much in San Francisco. It's just south of downtown of San Francisco. So I don't know where they're staying, but you could make an argument for one or the other because staying in the same hotel has its advantages over the course of a week. but getting to the practice facilities in a timely manner also has an advantage.
Yeah, it's just, you get in those major cities, everything gets spread out all over Balagon. Yeah. It's just the way it is. I think back to, the various pinstripe bowls Syracuse was in, like commuting to Jets or Giants practice facilities for practice. You get stuck in gridlock for one time. You're like, oh, it's been an hour and a half. We were just trying to go to press.
We can relate to that over here. We can relate.
Yeah, I'm sure it's quite similar out in that neck of the woods. All right, let's get on the court here a little bit. We got Justin Allegri, the voice of the Cal Bears, with us. Cal sitting 11-10. You're mid-pack in the league right now, 4-6. What's your general sense here of Cal basketball this year?
Well, I feel like this upcoming homestand, the Bears have 3 in a row. This is as important as it gets because you need to start to distinguish yourself from the bottom third and the middle third. Where are you going to be? The Bears know that they're not in that top third of the league this year, but Bears also have to get healthy. Last 3 games, they've been without their leading scorer, and at the time of his departure for an injury, third best scorer in the conference, in Andrej Stojakovic. So he's got to get healthy. He's been dealing with a hip injury the last few games, and in the last home game for the Bears, the overtime win over Miami, the starting center went down, who has been playing his best basketball in his career. Mady Sissoko, who's a transfer from Michigan State, was a starter there for the Spartans, moved over to Cal for a graduate season, been playing his best basketball by far, had a double-double last week. Well, he got hit in the head and passed the in-game concussion protocol against Miami, came back in, but then the next day he wasn't feeling right, and so he's now officially in concussion protocol. So they were without 2 starters at SMU, which completely changes the way you approach that game. So first and foremost, they've got to get healthy, and they know that this 3-game stretch of home games is pivotal for them to try and move up as much as they can the ladder, because they've got some tough road games coming up, and there's still a lot of games left in ACC conference play. So they know this is important.
Do you expect either of those guys to be available tomorrow?
Andre traveled with the team to SMU. It was a good sign. He was out on the court during warmups. He was at shoot around, and he's getting closer. The hip is bugging him. He can do all basketball activities aside from sprinting full speed. And it's one of those injuries where you don't really want to test it to see if you're good to go and maybe suffer a setback. So it's really a day-to-day thing for him. So we'll see tomorrow. As far as Sissoko, it's up to the doctors to clear him. He's got to make sure that he's right, and we won't know until the doctors say you're full go. So as of right now, yes or no, I don't know truly.
Okay, so we'll find that out tomorrow. Obviously, people remember his dad. Peja was a great player when you look at Stojakovic. Similar style of play, completely different. How does he play in comparison to his dad?
It's interesting. Three-point shooting, I remember Peja's three-point shooting as kind of his core function as an NBA player. He was a good shooter.
Yeah, same.
While Dre can do that, that's not really his go-to. He's really flourished this year, putting it on the floor, challenging defenses to try and guard him on a drive. And it results in him getting to the free throw line a lot, which has been great. And he's really crafty finishing around the rim and doing that. Now, he's a capable three-point shooter, don't get me wrong, but that's not really where he makes his point production. So I would say a little bit different. I think Peja's probably got a couple of inches of size on him too. But at 6'7", a guard that can handle the basketball and drive, and we've seen a lot of improvement. We saw him last year in a Stanford Cardinal uniform, and it seems like a vastly different player to me this year after he figured out what he needs to do and how he can approach driving on defenses.
Yeah, his dad was really, really good back in the day. He was a stud back in the early 2000s there. All right, so let's assume he's out tomorrow. If not him, where do the points come from for Cal?
Jeremiah Wilkinson. He's been the freshman. He'd been off the bench the entire season. He was, I think, the 7th best freshman scorer in the country that hadn't had a start yet this year when he came into the starting role because of the absence of Andre. But he is undoubtedly the best finisher when he does drive. Now, he's a little bit smaller. He's 6'1", and he's a freshman, so he's kind of sorting things out. But he can fill it up when he gets the opportunity and is incredibly gifted at finishing underneath the basket and taking on defenders. And he's got some of the best confidence on the team, even though he is a freshman. So they've relied heavily on him. It is interesting to watch him kind of be more of a volume type of shooter now that he's in that role. And I think the next step in his development is a little more consistency from three-point shooting, because you are a little more undersized when you're taking on these ACC defenses at 6'1". You got to hit your shots from outside, or else it'll be a lot more easy for them to contest when you do drive. So he's been the guy to do it. The Bears also need some point production out of Jovan Blacksher, who's a sixth-year guy. He was at Grand Canyon University, has now made the step up to that Power 4 level. And while he's averaging double figures, he's been hit or miss a lot here recently. So they're going to need his three-point production too. And really, when it comes down to it, the three-point shooting for the Bears needs to improve, because it's at 27% as a team in conference games this year. It's just not good. And they know it. And in spite of all of that, they're still in games and they're winning games. So they feel as though if they can get a little more consistent from three, they're going to be winning a lot more games.
Yeah, that's looking in the mirror with Syracuse on the three-point shooting numbers. That's for sure. Not the two standouts in the league when it comes to that. All right, we got Justin Allegri with us, voice of the Cal Bears. So Mark Madsen's the head coach, and yes, it's the same Mark Madsen that you remember from Stanford, running around flailing his arms, the same guy that was hanging out with Shaq on those Lakers teams. People, I think, have a picture in your head about Mark Madsen. Is that him as a head coach? Is this the grown-up version of Madsen? What is the Mad Dog as a head coach?
You know, the dance moves from that championship platform that he had with the Lakers, they've improved a little bit over the years. Not a lot, but a little bit over the years. He is undoubtedly one of the nicest people you will ever come across in any sport. Just a down-to-earth guy. He turns it on when he needs to. And he is an excellent coach, but he is the most down-to-earth person you will ever come across. He'll walk up to you on the plane, start a conversation with you, chit-chat about what the Bears are thinking about this game, how they're going to approach this game, what they need out of certain players, and just super down-to-earth. And I think as a result of that, the players know that he was a player in the NBA, and the players like his approachability. It's a lot easier for the players to kind of relate to him and understand where he's coming from when he does approach for conversation. So it's funny when you see him on TV, sometimes he'll get pretty animated. But he still's very nice. After he yells at a ref, he'll kind of be like, "Hey, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. That's my bad."
Most coaches don't have that follow up. I don't think. With the ref when it goes down like that. All right. How did Cal hire a Stanford guy though? That's the most pressing question.
Well, he had a successful couple of stints there, years at Utah Valley. And I think in terms of West Coast college basketball, he was on a lot of teams' radars. And I don't know that I couldn't speak from a Stanford perspective, but when the position opened, Cal looked at a ton of different options, and he was one that took a WAC school and made them a winner. And we were expecting to see a rebuild here at the then Pac-12. And they wanted a guy that did it at another level. So he was the one that rose to the top. He took a great coaching staff with him, and he has the ability to understand what is needed to the next level. Last year, he took in Jalen Tyson, who was a player that had spent multiple seasons at both Texas and Texas Tech, and came over and turned him into an NBA first-round draft pick. So I think that's the attractive nature of what Coach Madsen brings to the players and then to the fan base. They were thrilled about it, even though he is a Cardinal through and through from his playing days. But he'll tell you that was 2 decades ago.
Okay, the statute of limitations is passed. He's allowed
apparently
allowed on campus now. All right, last thing for you, Justin. What decides it tomorrow? What are you watching out for the key to the game tomorrow?
Well, to me, I remember Eddie Lampkin from last year. And the way that he can take over a basketball game. And I know that Syracuse is trying to get as healthy as they can, but if they have 2 guys out there that are double threats and rebound the basketball the way that they're able to do, they're dangerous. And if Mady Sissoko doesn't play, that allows Eddie Lampkin to really have a lane in this game to take over. So to me, rebounding is going to be big, and then for the Bears, they got to hit some shots. They got to make Syracuse uncomfortable and hit some shots. Look, but neither of them are playing solid defense right now, so this could be one of those games where it's just whoever gets hot at the end is the one that wins it. And there's certainly players on both sides that can do that. So I'm looking to kind of those fundamental things that a guy like Lampkin or Sissoko brings to the table to affect the outcome of potentially hot shooting.
All right, we'll see how that goes tomorrow night in the Bay Area. All right, Justin, thanks as always. Appreciate the time. Enjoy it tomorrow night.
Anytime. Thank you very much.
All right, our guy Justin Allegri, the voice of the Cal Bears, 10 o'clock Eastern tomorrow night, 7 o'clock West Coast. ESPN2, I believe ESPN2 is the TV. Of course, you can listen to the radio here over on TK99 and our AM signal ESPN 1200. Matt and Sats will be on the air with their pregame show at 8:30. Paulie will have pregame for you right here at 9, and he'll still be awake, he promises. Late night postgame. Will he stand and clap? Will he and Jordan be standing for hours again tomorrow? The questions we will answer during the day tomorrow on QSportsTalk.com. With that, we'll step aside for a few. We'll get Mike in here. We'll do a little 411. We'll do that next. It's Q Sports Talk. It is ESPN Radio. Mark Madsen's an Eagle Scout. Somehow that does not surprise me. Oh, man. Hey, look, it's Mike.
Hello. It's gotten chilly in here.
I just can't believe that air hockey game we had earlier. Today is no good. This is no good.
I literally felt bad afterwards.
And you felt you should feel bad. We should all feel bad.
When I heard the click, I assumed that I just scored on myself. Like I assumed I hit it hard because I didn't.
Back?
Yeah.
I will break your window by. Oh, the cops are here now. Great.
Are they?
No. Cops don't care about that. Cops didn't show up to our lot last week for a domestic altercation for 2 hours. You think they're showing up for a broken window with no leads?
I'm 1,000% sure that car was stolen.
What I'd like to know about that is what I would have liked to see how it then got away. Like none of us saw it leave.
Yeah. How was it not towed?
I don't
get that.
I don't understand.
It was like 8 hours. Dude.
It was just sitting there all day long. All day long. Oh, man. Paulie and Jordan are going to wear wrestling tights tomorrow? Yeah. Actually, tomorrow, maybe. Tomorrow they're going to their big prime dinner. The big prime dinner. The big Christmas present prime dinner. Jordan's going to be living large. He's going to get a haircut. He's going to go to prime. What a day.
Cut your hair because you just don't care.
I think he's cutting it. Well, I think he's going to someone who cuts it professionally because he does care.
Is he going to leave the top?
The top of his hair?
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to cut all the hair off.
Well, I mean, is he going to trim the top?
The top?
Yeah.
I would assume.
Well, he said he was trying to grow it out.
Oh, I don't know what he's doing.
So you just...
I just know he has a haircut tomorrow.
You just lied to me.
I assumed.
That's fair. You didn't lie.
I don't know. I go to the bar. They cut all of it, at least a little bit. I don't know.
My grandpa was a massive fan of you probably should get it all cut. Not hair.
You mean your hairs? I had one of my history teacher in like 7th or 8th grade always did that.
My 7th grade history
What's his
teacher.
name? I don't remember his name at all, but I remember he did.
My
that.
7th grade history teacher was Mr. Lavodi, and he was the greatest human being on the planet, and he was bald. And he had a sign in his room that said, God only created so many perfect heads, and he covered the rest with hair. I'm afraid for when I go bald inevitably, because I feel like I have a very weirdly shaped head on the top.
Dear. There's the research supercat that I would have been doing earlier today. Had my window not been smashed, that was on the list of things I planned on looking at.
You know when you fill a balloon, but then like part of it's not quite filled, and it's like
you have
rigidy.
A lumpy balloon head.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. That's what it looks like. I feel like right here, I don't know. I'm gonna look weird bald.
Kev says you should wear a hat. You never wear hats.
I never wear hats.
Well, that'd be unusual.
The hat and the losing of the hair. I mean, it may be tied together, but like that wasn't my objective one. Like I didn't just was like, I'm starting to lose hair, I should wear hats. I just was always a hat guy.
Oh yeah, right. Smashed. Very smashed. This morning. It was a concern because what do they say? It comes from your mother's side, the baldness?
Yeah, I don't know if that's true either. Because,
I don't know. My grandfather, very bald.
See, my mom's dad had a full head of hair when he died. My dad and his dad bald.
Anything in the car? Oh, lots of crap in the car. Right? Most of it's still there, best I can tell. Yeah. I mean, my car is filled with
I had a pair of AirPods stolen out of my car here like 6-7 months ago.
Where was it parked? In our parking lot?
And I didn't realize for like 4 months. I was just like, one day I was like, I need my AirPods. And I was like, where did they go? And
Are
I
you
was like,
sure they were stolen?
Well, I couldn't. I have not been able to find them since.
Are you certain your car was broken into?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd say that would be a random assumption.
Yeah. Because I
You've
got
lost something for 4 months. Well, it must have been
broken
stolen.
into. I left it unlocked, so it was on me.
All across CNY, it's the 315. Here's Brian Higgins.
All right, roll along. Friday. This hour is brought to you by DVOffers.com. It remains powered by Drivers Village, which still is in Cicero.
Here's the 411.
Hello, and welcome to Movie Phone.
Oh, wait, you serious? Let me laugh even harder.
In the 315.
So you're going to be doing that all week, right?
Nah.
Yeah, Mike.
Hello.
What's going on? You'll note I did not play the NFL Rip Around music.
I know. I was really bummed out we didn't have that today. I was like, man.
There's no game.
There isn't. We could have talked about like the Pro Bowl stuff.
Not very knowledgeably.
Yeah, me either.
I didn't watch any of it.
I've seen one clip. Is it completely over with? I've seen one clip.
No, they did something yesterday.
They were trying to catch the ball with the gloves, like the mascot gloves.
Sure.
And everybody, for the most part, was surprisingly really good at it. It was very consistent that everybody messed up the first one, and then it was like that lethal shooter clip where he's like, oh, now I understand.
These highly trained athletes figured out their hand-eye coordination. Yeah, there's more things. Don't they play like a flag football?
I was going to ask if they're still doing that.
Yeah.
I don't even know anymore.
It's probably Sunday.
It's a glorified skills challenge at this point, but it's understandable. I mean, with the incomes players make nowadays, it's very, very fair that they wouldn't want to play in a game that literally does not matter.
Yeah, and where people get hurt all the time.
Yeah.
Like it's built into the game.
Yeah.
Unlike some of the other sporting events. Yeah, I have zero idea what they're doing.
Oh, I also saw.
I don't even know where it is.
I don't either. I don't either.
Miami? Vegas? I don't know where they are.
There was another clip me and Jordan were watching earlier. Sam Darnold hit every single target. Which was not surprising in my mind. Because
the Giants now spend $60 million a year on him because he hit every target?
I mean, they could. They wouldn't get any worse than what it is now. So, I mean, maybe they'll have better luck this time in New York. Different team, different organization.
He'd be on like a different part of the hallway for his locker.
Yeah, I was say it'd still be the same stadium.
Like, that's nice.
Well, nobody really ever questioned his ability. It was more of his on-the-field decision-making.
Maybe they've exorcised the ghosts out of the stadium by now.
I was just about to say, it's really nice to see that the kid that grew up after 6th Sense still was able to find a career.
Yeah, like he was seeing ghosts, and now he's adjusted.
Yeah, he's not anymore.
And he's doing well as an
now
adult.
Now he's seeing green.
Yeah, it's wonderful. He will be.
Someone else, though, that we do need to talk about real quick. A couple days ago, Cam Newton was talking with Stephen A. Smith.
Was he wearing a big hat?
He was. He definitely was. He was wearing a massive, unnecessary hat. But he said...
I'd love to see his closet. It must be ridiculous.
You think he's got one just for hats? He's got to. Because they are not normal. It's not like hats you can just stack on top of each other.
No, he's not wearing ball caps. They're like... It's like a Lincoln and...
what is it, the Galen drum hat?
Yeah, it's like Lincoln and Liberace combined, and Cam wears it on his head.
Yeah, he's probably got a whole other room for that. No, but
he might have a wing. I don't know what he's got.
I would not be surprised. He did tell Stephen A. Smith that he would not trade his MVP award for a Super Bowl ring. It led me to wonder, and now ask you right now, if we are taking Cam Newton's career, would you rather take his career or Nick Foles? Very opposites.
I need to do one quick search here.
Right.
I need to do one very important search. Cam Newton career earnings.
That's very valid.
Okay. $133 million.
Here's the thing. Nick Foles got paid.
Yeah, I know Nick Foles got paid too. Career earnings.
He only got paid once, though.
Well, let's see. Nick Foles' career earnings. So Cam was at 133. Career. Where's the career on here? Show me the whole career.
Show me the money.
Career earnings. $87 million. Is
That's
it really
more than I expected.
Is it? Did I get all of Cam's? Did I screw this up?
No, I don't think so.
Hang on. Let me click on Cam again just to make sure. So $87 million for Nick Foles. Get it.
That actually just like reestablished my
87
opinion.
for 133. Okay.
And Super Bowl.
He won the Super Bowl. He is memorialized for one of the great plays in Super Bowl history.
The Philly special.
Cam Newton, though, was like a superstar in the league for a while.
Well, MVP.
And he was the MVP.
But that's where the questions come. Do you want
Yeah.
that individual success and the memories and the acknowledgement of being great, or do you want to go win the big one?
The money is close enough. Like if
It's
it was
close enough,
if
I
it was 100, I'd say it's only 50 or 60 million apart. Like if it was 140 million and Foles made like 10, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. That's generational wealth.
Like I know Cam got crapped on for his take on this. I don't think it's ridiculous. I don't think it's a ridiculous that like the dude was the MVP of the league. That season he was magical. He was the rookie of the year in the league. He burst onto the scene. He was magical. Do we get to count that he won does his college stuff count in this? Or no, we're just talking
just
league.
NFL.
Okay, so I don't get the college natty? Then it would be clearly Cam. I think Cam. I think Cam.
I'm very
I'm torn.
That's fine. I totally accept that.
People were crapping on Cam, and I thought that was ridiculous.
I don't think it's ridiculous at all. I didn't have any issue with him claiming I'd rather keep the MVP. My issue is at the very end of it, he wraps it up with, I did my job.
Yeah.
The biggest thing he is remembered for is not jumping on the fumble.
I don't blame him for that.
I don't either. But don't say you did your job when you clearly decided not to.
They were getting crushed at that point, and realistically, the only way he could have gotten to that pile was like blowing out his shoulder. I actually don't blame him for that. Jordan has added another important question. If you're Nick Foles, if you pick Nick Foles in this situation, can you wear Cam's hats? Yeah. Would that sway you? If you're Nick Foles, but you get to wear Cam Newton's hats?
Oh, I'm already going Nick Foles.
Oh.
I'm on Nick. I'd rather the ring.
Do you want his hats?
No.
Oh.
I think Cam Newton...
I disagree. You should take his hats.
Cam Newton, respectively, may have the worst selection of hats I've ever seen.
It's I don't know. I mean, they look ridiculous, but he's pulling it off in his own way.
Yeah, I will give him credit. If anybody
There's not another human on Earth that should
attempt
attempt what he's doing. Like, nobody else striding the planet today or any other day should try it.
There is somebody else who accomplished quite a feat within himself that had to do with an MVP, but his was at a different level, and we need to talk about him. Andre Iguodala gets his number, is getting his number.
He should not have won that series MVP.
I am upset with that. Very intently upset with that.
He was fantastic in that series.
Why?
Steph should have won the MVP.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Andre was great.
I disagree completely.
What did he score, like 13 points a game in that series?
Didn't start a single game the entire season until the finals because somebody else on the team somebody else on the team, Harrison, didn't want to come off the bench. Harrison Barnes didn't want to come off the bench, so he started the entire season.
I might still argue that LeBron should have won the MVP in that series.
I agree with that over Steph because
I think that's more my main argument.
I will say that the only reason Iggy got the award is because he held LeBron James to not
held him down to 40 a couple.
He held him to 30, 10, and 10. So should he have gotten it? No, LeBron should have. But losers don't get Finals MVPs now.
Winners get washed. I've heard about it.
Yeah,
Iggy was great that series. I like Iguodala.
And he did it with back spasms too. He was injured that entire series.
Yeah, because guarding LeBron hurts you.
And you know what? He also is debatably the greatest passing small forward in his generation. Now, I know he was with LeBron, and LeBron is an incredible passer, but LeBron can do everything. Okay,
we're not calling LeBron a small forward. I guess LeBron's more positionless. Is that how?
Well, the thing is
don't tell me Iggy's a better passer than LeBron.
I think he's on par.
Do it.
I think they're both on par with each other. But I think
I thought you were also going to finish that sentence with "of all time."
No. And
then I was going to slap you with.
Close.
I was going to smack you with Larry Bird.
I think him and LeBron can go hand in hand for the best passing small forwards of their generation. I do think that
you've got Andre Iguodala in the same category as a passer of LeBron James.
Yes. Because look how his game transferred when he went from Philly over to, well, technically he took a stop real quick, but it was for like half a year. But then he went over to the Warriors, and I mean, his points per game took a huge dip. The amount of times he touched the ball took a huge dip. But you know what stayed about the same? The assists per game. I just think he's an incredible passer.
I mean, I'll buy you. It's just LeBron's probably better at him than
I don't know. I think he's out there. Is it a little bit biased because I'm such an Iggy fan? Maybe.
Apparently.
But you know what? The good question could be asked, am I an Iggy fan? And am I biased because he's such a good passer, Brian? I think so.
I don't think that's the order you can ask that question.
Anyways,
you got to ask that question the other way.
Well, he's getting his number retired. Okay?
Good for him. He deserves that. I'm not arguing against that.
But a good point of bringing this up is now I think it's absolutely credited that we can all agree that every single big member of that big three is getting retired. I think there are going to be other players that get retired from that dynasty roster because I do think, although Iggy's incredible, I think he was third, fourth, sometimes fifth fiddle. If he's getting his number retired, there's going to be a lot more in the rafters in 4 or 5 years from now.
Well, yeah, they won a bunch of titles. They should retire a lot of people's numbers.
They should retire the entire team.
You want to get riled up again?
Yeah.
Jordan says the only thing Iggy is better at is participating in dunk contests.
Moving on.
Oh,
Trae Young left off the All-Star list again after averaging 20 and 10. Jordan, you're wrong, and I hate you. Anyways, Trae Young, this is the second time it's happened to him.
The rest of the league hates Trae Young. They hate him.
The rest of the league does hate Trae Young. Unless he becomes a replacement player, unless somebody gets hurt, this will be the first time in NBA history that a player multiple years has been left off the All-Star team after averaging 20 and 10.
Where's justice for Sabonis? He's leading the league in rebounds.
He is.
Justice for Sabonis.
This leads to my question, because you can talk about Sabonis too. He is doing incredible. But is there too many guards in the East? Are there too many bigs in the West right now? Are we seeing guys left off that in every other year would easily make it simply because there are people having such good seasons this year?
I guess like LaMelo Ball's like third in the league in scoring.
Yeah, like
he's not in the All-Star game.
Sabonis is a good example because, yeah, he's leading the league in rebounds per game, but then the guy who was averaging just under 2 rebounds per game is also averaging almost double the amount of points, almost double the amount of assists. So it's like there's some really good basketball being played right now. There's just there's not enough spots. I don't think this is.
Is there? I haven't examined it. I saw the names left off, but I have not gone through and be like, oh, they got snubbed for. Because if you're going to tell me this guy needs to be on, we got to tell me somebody that needs to be off.
That's the thing.
Do you have anyone, Mike, out of the group that's there that you're like, oh,
no.
Come on?
That shouldn't be in or should be?
That's in that should not?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
Not at all.
I'll believe you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, you watch a lot more NBA than I do.
We're going to talk a little bit more.
I didn't even click on the link to look at who made it. I just saw who didn't make it.
I feel like more, I think that's more interesting.
Yeah.
I do get that's way more interesting. Who got snubbed?
Yeah. So people are like, they got snubbed. But you need to ask the follow-up question. All right, they got snubbed. If you got snubbed, you had to get snubbed because of somebody.
And that's why I'm much more upset about specifically LaMelo. I think LaMelo,
he's third in the league in scoring.
That's tough. It's tough not to have him in there. But with Sabonis
and he's like a star.
And with Trae Young, I don't feel as bad simply because their equivalents are having just as good, if not way better seasons.
Is LeBron in the All-Star game?
I mean, he should be in the All-Star game forever, even when he retires.
Yeah, but Iggy's not in the All-Star
That's
game.
mean, man.
It's probably because he's retired.
Yeah, he retired because he felt bad that he was taking all the limelight away from LeBron.
I don't think anyone's taking the limelight from LeBron. Those guys only played in the title series every year for like a decade. All right, there we are.
What a time.
There's a little 401 for you. We'll take a break. We'll tell you what's on tap next. Q Sports Talk, ESPN Radio. Yeah, I know people were fired up about that, but I haven't actually looked at the list to see who's in the game.
I don't think anybody shouldn't make it who did make it. We're just getting some good ball right now. This is
Brunson and Cat both in?
I believe
somebody wants Super Cat.
I believe Cat made it. I don't remember everybody.
All-star rosters. All right, Devin Booker was upset that he didn't make it.
He supports expanding the All-Star Game roster.
I'm sure he does.
That's what this update says.
Eastern Conference reserves. Darius Garland. I don't want to see just the reserves. I need to see the whole. Who's starting? Brunson and Cat are both starting. The East starters are Brunson, Donovan Mitchell, Giannis, Tatum, and Cat. The West is Curry, Shea Gilgeous, Jokic, Durant, and LeBron. That's a good team.
That's a fantastic starting roster. For
That's
both
like
of them.
that's a lot of Hall of Famers. Who the reserve? The reserves in the West: Anthony Edwards, he's good. James Harden, Wemby, Jalen Williams.
Harden shouldn't be it.
Alfred Sengun of the Rockets. Sengun. Mm-hmm. He's like the slick passing
very
big man.
Good.
Jaren Jackson of the Grizzlies. Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis will be hurt by the All-Star game.
Yep.
He won't play.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't he hurt already? Garland, Cade Cunningham, Damian Lillard, Tyler Hero, Jaylen Brown, Evan Mobley, Pascal Siakam for the East. I don't know. Those are all good players. I don't know what's going on. What's that?
Did you say KD?
Yeah, he's starting.
Okay. I'm going to say that would be surprising. He's 94 points away from 30K.
In just the All-Star game.
Yeah. Only 8th player ever. There's too much money in sports now. That's why all these All-Star games suck.
Just you wish they'd play a little bit because, like, it's the NBA. Like, you can try a little bit without getting hurt.
Yeah.
Like, the NFL, I get it. Like, you're going to get hurt. Like, you guys are playing basketball.
Yeah. The only accidents are freak accidents.
Yeah. Like, go
NBA.
play a little basketball. At least I liked when they at least would try in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I did like that, too, where it was, like, the first to whatever ends it.
Well, no, I didn't even like that. There was the years before that where just when they got to the fourth quarter and they were just like, all right, let's play now.
Okay, yeah.
Like, all right, we were screwing around. Now we can play.
Well, the All-Star game used to be so much more pride-driven.
Yeah, Jordan says it's never close enough. Yeah, it's never close. The Elam ending's never been good in it because it's never been close, so it hasn't mattered.
Like, back then, everybody wanted to go to the All-Star game because they wanted to prove to the other All-Stars that they were better than them. Now, nobody cares.
No, they don't care. They're like, we're all good. We're all rich.
Yeah.
Everything's great.
Yeah.
Everything is great.
Pod? Did you already say that?
No. 1. Four, 5. There goes Mike. The biggest Andre Iguodala fan of all time. Yeah, the NBA All-Star Game used to be the good All-Star Game. Now they're all terrible.
Across CNY, it's the 315. Here's Brian Higgins.
Let's go.
All right, back at it toward the end of our Friday together.
Here's what's on tap tonight.
Quite literally, the CNY Brewfest, the VIP session this evening, I believe, is underway. Did that start at 5? It's too late for you to buy tickets for that because it's happening. It's not too late for you to buy tickets for tomorrow. 2 sessions, February the 1st, Horticulture Building, New York State Fairgrounds, CNY Brewfest. Get your tickets. You get a little cuppy cup. You get all the samples you can desire. Have a good time tomorrow at the CNY Brewfest. This is our last chance to remind you about it. So get on it. Get on it. Crunch tonight versus the Amherst Roch at 7:05. Countdown to crunch time with Lucas here at 6:50. Tomorrow, Lax season opens with Jacksonville at noon. Listen to Tim and Kyle over on TK. Pregame for that at 11:30. Hoops at Cal tomorrow. That's at 10 o'clock in the p.m. Paulie will be here with pregame at 9. Paulie's doing another crazy Paulie Mania watch party during the game tomorrow. Will he and Jordan's be standing and clapping again? Have they learned their lessons? Questions we'll answer tomorrow at QSportsTalk.com. Then Paulie will be with you postgame roundabouts midnight for your calls and final reaction to the West Coast swing. With that, enjoy the weekend, everybody. I'll be back with you Monday, 4 o'clock, right here, Q Sports Talk at ESPN Radio.
The 315 with Brian